And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 Season 3, Week 5 iRacing LeMans Series from Suzuka, Japan. I'm Trevor Greenfield, and you're watching TG Racing on YouTube. And we're just getting rolling here with our first streamed race, so I'm super excited to bring this to you. Leonardo Bayo bringing everybody down to the green flag and into turn 1. Javier Gongan in the bright colored BMW, and you can see Jonathan Rex in the orange BMW getting into the back of Alexander Kutzel II. That would affect both of their races really heavily. Here's me, Trevor Greenfield, in the mint green Ford GTE. It's quite a challenge to drive this car, let me tell you. Apologize for any of the glitches and the graphics. Everything's getting ironed out over time as I'm already building new graphics and dealing with stutters and frame rate issues and things like that. So, oh my goodness. There's David Medina, and yeah, the voice radio there was from one of the drivers involved. It doesn't show up, and so I'll just leave it that way. But yeah, they had a really difficult race here, and it's just an example of what I've been going through a lot of in the GT series. Just now we're on board with Sander Veerling here in 6th, as I had moved up from my starting position in 6th to 5th with Jonathan Rex dropping back. But yeah, I've just found it to be really difficult. Strong competition, but a lot of guys that just, drop kick you. And even one time I missed my braking into a zone, I drop kick somebody else. I see how easy it is to do that with these cars. They're kind of heavy, and when the tires start to go away or whatever, yeah, they are quite a handful. So this is jumps ahead to lap 3, because look at the bottom. There goes Sander Veerling around at the bottom, so he would not be a factor up at the front after that point. And that kind of left me open to go and pursue Jamie Basaw up in front. And so at this point here, 8 minutes into the race, lap 3, I'm thinking, I got a little gap in back, and let's see if we can chase him down. Meanwhile, I get so lucky because here Javier Gongan has thrown it off and actually given me the ability to pass him, as well as he's dropped back to 6th, so that's moved me up to 4th. Jamie Basaw up to 3rd, Alexander Kutzel II up into 2nd place, following Leonardo Bayo, who, for all intents and purposes, look, he's checked out. I mean, none of us are going to challenge him. It looks like he's about a second a lap faster than us on pace. And, yeah, it's, frequently that's kind of the situation when we're talking about these split races in iRacing, where one or two of the guys might just be another half a second again faster than everybody else, or 3/4 of a second, and that's kind of reflective in real life racing. Sometimes guys do just have it that much better together, especially with so many settings to do on these cars. They're not exactly rocket science, but there's a lot of settings to get right or wrong on these cars. So, and then they all being different makes and things. So here we can see an incident further back with Lars Jensen. While I now have closed up, it looks like Alexander Kutzel has some damage to the back of his car, and he's dropped back behind Jamie Basaw here. And so now it's a 3-way battle for 2nd place. And further back, we can see Pedro Cladera. Didn't see what caused this incident, but he's running a little wide there too. Obviously got clipped in the rear. So now here, I'm closing up on Alexander, 0.3 tenths back. You can see he's still got a little bit of stuff shaken out of his car there from off track. And I mean, to be honest, this is the stuff that gets me really into racing, into sim racing, just this close kind of battling. I just love getting up and being able to try to attack and try to find a way around guys on the track and not get those off track. It's all about that safety rating and iRating, and that's really what this race means to me. Even is that's why, I don't know, I kind of took myself out of any sort of aggressive mindset for this race, and I just wanted to be consistent and strong. And I kind of had a moment later on in the race where I was like, I have 0 incidents. Wow, and I almost threw it off. Anyway, here's another bad incident. Oh my goodness. Ronnie Elm gets into Schweikert there, Justin Schweikert, I believe. And yeah, you can hear some cursing going on here in the background. Lots and lots of F-bombs dropped in iRacing. We get so frustrated. So, where does that put me? It puts me up into fourth, and still chasing down Alexander. And I think at this point, you know, I know that I need to get around him. I think I have better pace than him. His damage may be slowing him slightly. It's really not much, but it's slowing him a little bit. And so I know I need to get around him, mostly just to keep Javier in check back there. He's about 2 seconds back, and I know that if he starts putting his foot down, it's very possible he could reel me in a little bit. So just managing that, trying to manage that gap, I just realized I'm going to have to start pressuring Alexander here. Again, just to be clear, it's been tricky getting up to speed with these GTE cars. So here's another big incident with Justin Schweikert, and I think this takes him pretty much out of the race after this one. Yeah, but it's been tricky getting up to speed. So for me to be in 4th place at this point, I'm just kind of like, hey, this is, you know, I'm going to get more iRating, I'm going to get safety rating if I keep going at this rate. Lap 6, 13 minutes in, so I'm just not really in a rush. But I can tell that Alexander's starting to feel the pressure a little bit, so I decide I'm going to put a little bit more pressure. And it's not like he's not quick. He and I are kind of matched on a lot of times, so on a lot of corners. So for me to put a lot of pressure was not easy all the time. Oh, there's Lars just spinning around and stopping in the racing line, which is always exactly what you want to do, especially at a really fast part of the track. I'm sure he just, you know, these cars, they can just get away from you. And especially if you got to do such a long stint on these tires, that if you have a few off tracks, knowing the way that iRacing penalizes you for different things, you know, you have a couple of walk-ups, take it off track, bring it back on, I think your tires can get cooked real fast, or can get messed up real fast, and good luck hanging on to it and not putting it off. So again, it's so close here. Lap 9, David Medina, poor guy. Beautiful paint job there. Thank you, Trading Paints, I guess. And then, so now we're back in this incident. I think Alexander's had a little bit of a moment, and that's allowed Javier. I braked up, and that allowed Javier to catch up. Now back a little bit. Ronnie Alm again spinning a little bit. Oh, getting collected right there by, I think that was by Lars Jensen. And then I put it off in the chicane. Not sure exactly what was going on, but something went on. I think maybe I had to brake too hard. And anyway, it's opened the door for Javier to pass me. And now I'm looking at people.
Thank you.
nipping at my heels, Jamie Basaw and Leandro Andrutti. Just more incidents back in the pack here. And here, Leandro Andrutti, Ford GTE came out of nowhere. He's doing quite well, and then gets into a battle. I don't know which one of them say that.
Heavy front end Phillips. Thank you for letting me know. I was wondering.
Yeah, Jamie and Leandro decided to go too wide through there, and it's why,
stay away from you, Ted. You caused 2 wrecks and a half a lap.
Discretion is the better part of valor. Sometimes just letting these things go.
Rough damage on the backside of yours.
Anyway, where does that put us? Put Trevor fourth. I'm so excited to be in 4th place in a GTE race. I think this was 2nd split or 3rd split. I'm not sure. 2nd split maybe. It's been weird sometimes with the Spa 24 stuff going on. How sometimes I'll end up, like the other night I was just in the 1st split and I couldn't believe it. But it was because so many people were not in the split. It was basically a ghost town for this series, which can see a couple hundred drivers at a time. So here I'm coming up on Javier. I see the opportunity. Okay, so he brakes and brakes and brakes, and I take the inside line. I take the line away from him, and Javier did great not to crash us both. I appreciate that. I just saw the opportunity to take, and Javier kind of went to sleep there in the brake zone. Here, a little bit further back, Jeff Castillo. Yeah, he's right off into no man's land. Goodness help you if you ever end up out there. You're done for. So that moves me into 3rd with that pass of Javier. And I've got 2 seconds to catch Alexander. So we move ahead to lap 13, and I have closed the gap down to 0.5 seconds. And I'm looking in the same space I passed Javier to see if I could catch Alexander napping, and there's no doing it. So Alexander dropping some more out of the bottom of his car. It's obvious he's had some sort of a moment, and that set him back. And here I've made my move down to the inside into turn 1. He gives me the space. I come through on the inside. Now here's the thing. That was almost a death move right there. But the problem is the back end got away from me. And I just did the slide job. It's kind of like this here where Cesar Sejas is taking a spin there. The tires start to go away about this point, and I just plain and simple, that's one of those spots where you're putting a lot of pressure out there on the tire as you're rounding that corner, and I just cooked it a little too hard for where the tires were at. I feel bad about that, but Alexander Kutzel the second, thank you. You're a gentleman for not killing us both, and as a result, we both ended up surviving to tell another tale. So, yeah, you're reading that right. I'm now in 2nd place. That felt pretty darn good at that point. Obviously, I knew I had done a couple Suzuka races, and so I was running in 10th and 12th, and to be looking up there at 2nd place was just I haven't done that for a month. Been up in the top end of the grid because I've been trying these harder races. So here I pull in on lap 21. I'm attempting to get the undercut, and the problem is I kind of sped a little bit, I think, entering pit road. Now, I'm doing everything I can. I let off of the gas a little bit, which slows your speed, and hopefully that offsets any of the speed that I had coming into the pits. And this is a technique that actually works. The problem is it's basically impossible to, gauge exactly what you need to do. So if I ever end up in this situation, I err on the safe side and just, but I'm still on pit road, 40 seconds. Here we go. So I kind of let off a little bit and then I'm back on, and no speeding penalty is the main thing. But I know I lost several seconds. I would say it's conservative to say 5, but if you want to say 4 or 5, I think that's good. And part of that too is that I did overfill a little bit for the end of this race. I don't have a perfect calculator on where my fuel usage is at in a lot of these races. So I'm just looking at what the leaders have done and then trying to fill it past that point. But so when I come back out, that puts me into 5th, and now it's all about these in-laps and out-laps. And you just try to put your foot down and be clean, not make mistakes, get good drives out of corners, and just put down solid laps. And so, right now I completely know that I got 20-second gap to Alexander. If you're looking down at the relative times in the bottom right, I got a 20-second gap to him. And now you can see he's into the pits. Javier Gongan is into the pits. Yeah, if you look in the upper left, you see more information about that and where they're going to potentially slot out. Alexander is still in the pits, 11 seconds as I'm coming back across pit road here. So 47 minutes in, lap 22, we're just starting, and Javier is not out of the pits yet as I hit the end of the pits. Now again, I did a 43 seconds on pit road. Javier did 40 seconds on pit road, and he's now shown his 2.4 seconds exiting the pit, but we'll see where he ends up. If you look down in the relatives, that's a little bit closer to update, sometimes a little bit faster to update, but both places now showing he's ending up about 7.5 seconds back of me on exiting the pits with a 40-second lap time, or 40-second in the pits, and 36 seconds for Sander Vreeling. So it's brought him back into play, up into 5th. So congrats to Sander for that. Alexander, 39-second pits time in pit lane. And here I just put it a little bit too fast into the corner there and cost myself about a half a second. As you can see on Javier, who's now closed it down by about a half a second. And continues to close it down a little bit more than that. So we keep an eye on that. Cisco still has not pitted. Leonardo Bayo is, of course, I didn't catch it at first, but he's on pit road. The leader is in. We have zero chance of catching him. 38.2 seconds, very quick on pit road. One of the faster pit road guys here. And now Cisco, still on pit road. It is anybody's guess where we will come out. Cisco Smock kind of came out of nowhere. He put on a lot of speed in the middle of the stint and made up a lot of places while people were pitting. Was a very late pitter, so used the overcut quite well. I used the undercut well. He used the overcut well. He also got 8 seconds faster in the pits, and so he gets out 6.4 seconds ahead of me. Now, the only thing left here with 10 minutes left to go is, can I close the gap? And so lap 31, we're basically coming to the end of the race. I don't know why my software is not showing the very end, but there we go. That is Leonardo Baio crossing the finish line in first place, followed by Spencer Lewis, who's the next guy on the track. Beat up machine there, the V-Power Ferrari. And here is Martin Christensen. His livery may have updated, actually, since doing this video. So apologize if anybody's livery does not look totally fresh. This is how it looked when I did the render. And here, finally, I am in third place, finishing the race. Ignore the timing. There's Jonathan Rex, and I know he had that incident early on, but I wanted to say thank you to Jonathan for he let me by in one of the corners as I was going around. I really appreciate that, very gentlemanly. So here we go, final running order. Leonardo Baio, of course, Baio, excuse me for pronunciation, but congratulations, Cisco Smog, myself, Trevor Greenfield, Javier Gongan, Sander Vierling, and Alexander Kitzel II. Philip Ducker still ended up 7th place despite all of his issues early on. So you could just kind of tell after he had his initial issues, and he got very upset. He pulled it all together and kind of stuck in the race, and ended up, with a solid finish at 41. He ended up going up 41, and even ended up going up 0.12 in the safety rating. So yeah, good for him. And also, just looking at my finishing here, 1640, I went up 75 points with a .21. I only had 6 incidents, and one of those was my off track in the chicane. I don't think that was a loss of control or anything like that, but yeah, as we catch the other people coming across the finish line, I just want to say this was really great to get this third place. Really feels good after, stepping up in class and getting the B license promotion, moving up into the iRacing LeMans series. And so I'm looking forward to racing all of these guys again. Very clean racers for the most part. And hey, drop me a suggestion, drop me a comment, say hi in the comments, and I'll catch you out there later. Like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.